Hi, friends. I'm Meteorologist Kelly Greene with Channel 13. Thanks so much for stopping in on this next edition of Weather Academy. Today, we're not talking so much weather, but we're talking a little bit of science today and looking at some of the chemistry that goes on all around us and just some fun activities. Some of these will be for some older kids, some of them will be for some younger kids. So we're going to start off with our first experiment. It's called the dancing rice experiment. And we start off with just a little bit of water. We want to take about a mason jar and fill it up about 3/4 of the way full. And then I'm going to go ahead and tilt my camera down. We are going to take a little bit of food coloring and add some food coloring to this, just to give it a little bit of color so we can see more of the activity that's going on. All right, so that the rest of that food coloring will dissolve here eventually. Then we are going to add a tablespoon of baking soda. Just want to top it off, make about 1 tablespoon, dump it in there. And now we also want to mix this so that it also dissolves within the water. Want to make sure it's mixed completely. And then we're going to take an instant rice. We don't want you to do the long-term rice. It has to be the instant rice. So this is minute rice. I've already measured out a 1/4 cup of rice. So now we're going to put that in here. So it's basically going to sit on top for the time being. And then we're going to take our tablespoon again, and we're going to add a little vinegar. This is where the chemistry starts happening. With this tablespoon of vinegar, we're going to start to see a reaction happening between the baking soda and the vinegar. So we'll dump this in. Let's go ahead and put 1 more tablespoon in just to see the reaction. All right, now we're going to watch our rice start to dance. All right, you see they're dancing. Awesome. So the chemistry is happening. So what is that? What is going on here? We have a reaction between the baking soda and the vinegar. And of course, the rice is in there too. So that causes a bit of a reaction as well. And the baking soda and the vinegar react because one is a base and the other one is an acid. Baking soda is a basic compound. It's called sodium bicarbonate. And vinegar is a diluted solution and it contains some acid. So I'm going to have Dale pull up the ingredients for this, and we'll let this go on for a couple minutes here and let the chemistry continue. So Dale, I'll have you pull that up, but I will explain a little bit more about that reaction too. So the baking soda and the vinegar reaction are 2 separate reactions. The first reaction is the acid-base reaction. And when the vinegar and the baking soda are first mixed together, the hydrogen ions in the vinegar react with the sodium and the bicarbonate ions in the baking soda. Okay, so the result is the initial reaction, the 2 chemicals, the carbon acid and the sodium acetate. So that's why we have the dancing rice here. It's getting more intense. Dale, if you want to come back, we've got the reaction still continuing, and I'm going to put a light here so you can see it even better. Check it out. Look at those rice dancing away. How fun is that? How about if we put a little bit more vinegar in that? Just so you know, I did do this and it made a huge mess the other day. So moms and dads, don't put in too much vinegar because the reaction will kind of explode, similar to those volcano ones. Let's try one more here. So we still have more of that reaction, the chemistry that's going on between the baking soda, the vinegar, and then of course the rice is acting with it as well. And we can put the flashlight so you can see it a little bit better, how they're just dancing around. Pretty cool. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and put this one down. We'll come back and see if they're still dancing here in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next experiment. I'm going to move my stuff out of the way so we can bring in the next one. The next one is going to be a little bit for some younger kids, but this one's pretty fun too for older kids. I consider myself an older kid. I had fun with this one. We're going to take vinegar, again, vinegar, and we're going to make little bowls of color. Okay, so just use some food coloring and mix it into vinegar. So I made these colors just because I like kind of rainbow colors. And while I'm talking about rainbow colors, there is an acronym. It's called Roy G. Biv, and that stands for each color of the rainbow. R is red, O is orange, Y is yellow, G is green, B is blue, I is indigo, and V is violet. Okay, so those are it's a great acronym to remember how to keep in mind what the colors of the rainbows are. I started loving weather when I was a kid because I love rainbows so much. So we're gonna look at some rainbow colors here, but here's our next experiment. Dale, if you wanna go ahead and put up the ingredients here, this one's a pretty simple one. You don't need a whole lot. We just need a little bit of vinegar, some food coloring, baking soda, and basically something to put it in, and some eyedroppers help. So I'll go ahead and tilt down my camera so you guys can see my colors here. Out of the way. So we take our baking soda and then we just put it in the container here. And you can use, you know, an aluminum one that you want to throw away afterwards. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make too big of a mess. Okay. Dale, can you still hear me? Okay, great. I was afraid that one of my AirPods went out. So basically, we take this eyedropper and we just start putting it into the baking soda. And I'm going to put this up a little closer. You may not be able to hear it, but check it out. It's fizzing. There's a reaction here too. Awesome. Now I'm going to switch up the colors. So now I'll go with some red. Let's add a little bit of red here. I didn't get very much in my dropper. Droppers work the best for this. Let me put this down here so you can see me. Let me see if I can get a nice squirt here. And it's bubbling up, so I can hear it. If you did this at home, you'd be able to hear it much better. But then just have fun. The kids can have fun kind of blending some of the colors in here and maybe putting some on top of it so it kind of gives it even a different color, which is also a great learning experience to see how you can blend colors. The primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. And we can make other colors out of those three colors. But this is just fun. Baking soda is cheap. This vinegar is cheap. So this is just a fun one to let the kids just play. Almost like in a sandbox or with Play-Doh. It's just a little bit different. But to watch it bubbling up really makes it fun. Seeing that reaction with it. It's pretty cool, I think. And the little ones will definitely love this one, just to fill it up. Again, a super easy one, but again, this is taking baking soda and vinegar and seeing how it gives that chemical reaction between the two. We have the acid and we have the base. So we're doing a little chemistry right now while you're having fun, how they bubble up like that. So cool. I haven't used enough red. I know, I'm just playing right now, so. But notice even with the red and the blue, make purple when you blend them together. So teach about the colors too that you're inventing here as you go around your baking soda. All right, super fun. Hope you like that one. Again, let's go ahead and put up the ingredients for that one again, Dale. And I'll transition out to the last project. Thanks to Dale for helping me put all of my stuff up here. Our last one's going to take a little bit more time to talk about as I gather all of my stuff for this one. My kitchen's been a mess for a few days putting these projects together. They've been fun though. All right, Dale, I'm going to go ahead and have you switch to the next slide. This one is the naked egg one. So while that one's up, I'm going to continue to set this one up so we have a good view of what's going on with it. Okay, Dale, whenever you're ready, you can come back. Okay, hopefully you can still hear me. All right, let's check out our dancing rice again. Look at it, it's even more intense. So this one, you sometimes just give it a couple extra minutes. We'll come back to it towards the end too to see if it's still reacting. But the chemistry is still occurring right now with the vinegar and the baking soda. All right, this last one, we're going to talk about an egg, okay? So an egg is actually a cell, and that's a lot of biology, right? So we have this hard shell on the outside of the egg, right? Now the egg is not completely hard. It is permeable, which means things can go inside of it as well. It's called osmosis, which means we can see a transfer of something outside going inside through this permeable shell. So what this experiment does, it also takes vinegar. Vinegar is our friend today. We do a lot with vinegar. I'm going to put the egg aside, and we take some vinegar, and I'm going to go ahead and add my vinegar here. About halfway full, and I just use regular glasses. If you want to make a big bowl of it, it's fine. And of course, I love using food coloring, so I'm going to use pink for this one. Add a little bit of pink food coloring to the vinegar. Mix it around so you have the color transferring over, because you don't want to do this while the egg is actually inside, because it will possibly break. Pink's not getting very pink, is it? It'll work for what we're doing right now because I have other ones to show you. What we'll do is we take this egg and we put it inside the vinegar. And I'm going to go ahead and tilt down my camera. Now this isn't going to happen right away, but eventually we're going to have some bubbling happening. You can already see it if you look really, really close. There is some bubbling happening. So the reaction's starting to work, but this is a living thing. Every cell makes up living things, right? So an egg is actually just one cell. The rest of our bodies are made up of teeny tiny cells throughout our body. But we know that the egg is super fragile, right? So we are going to eventually see some foam at the top of this egg. It's not happening just yet. But what happens is that after 24 hours, you'll see a much more foam. So here are some examples here that I've already done for you. So I have all different colors of the rainbow here, right? But here's some of the foam if you look at this pink one. See how the foam was taking place? This is actually 72 hours, but the project is to actually, after 24 hours, so say this one has been in this vinegar for 24 hours. You want to take the egg out, change out the vinegar as well as the food coloring if you want, and then let it sit again for another 24 hours. This experiment I've done for 72. So I've done it a little longer than what's necessary, but that's just the timing of it. So the chemistry is the eggshell and the vinegar. They're reacting together, and basically you just are watching this reaction. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happens here. We'll start with this hot pink one. Look at how big it is. Let me take this other one out. Look at the size difference. It has totally expanded. Now it could keep getting bigger and bigger, but because of the size of the glass, it's restricted. Otherwise, it probably would keep expanding as it takes in more vinegar. It allows the water inside the egg to come out. So that's the osmosis process, okay? So let's go ahead and I will gently take some of the water off. So I'm going to tilt up my camera just for a moment. I take it over to the sink and try to take some of the foam off of this egg. Ooh, it's super squishy. And this is a great project to do at home with the kids so they can really put their hands on it. It's really rubbery. Check that out. How cool is that? I mean, when you think about, we have this egg here with the hard shell. This one is super bouncy. Woo! It's like a bouncy ball, right? I love it. Let's see if it will bounce. Should we try it? Let me get my plate. Woo! It's bouncing. Cool. I mean, that's amazing, right? Let's take our flashlight and see if we can see anything inside. Pretty hard to see with the pink color. We might have to try a different one. All right, I'm going to make a bit of a mess though for you guys, okay? So I'm going to use a bowl this time, and I'm going to cut this open. I'll tilt down my camera again so you can see what I'm doing. Woo! It scared me. Okay, sorry, it's not that hard to do. It's just, I scared myself, but check out the film that's left over. Look at how thin this is. How cool is that? Remember, this was the outside of our egg. Hard, but the chemistry with the vinegar reacting to the outer shell and the osmosis process allows this to be super thin, but it was bouncy, so it was still strong enough to hold the rest of the yolk. Now notice, the yolk did not get any coloring. It was protected. So it stayed the yellow color it normally does, as well as the rest of the color here, but we have a lot of vinegar involved as well. So really kind of neat process. Should we try some more? I'll get down low. Should we try some more? I'm sorry, I'm a dork. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Grab a spoon. Let's try the purple one. All right, so these are kind of Easter colors. So this, you guys might be coloring eggs this Easter. Maybe do this instead because it's super cool. All right, I'm going to take it and wash it off really quick. Stand by. Just getting the fuzzies off because there's a ton of fuzzies that with the reaction of the bubbles of the vinegar eating away at the shell. So let's try it again. We'll bounce it again. Cool. I wonder if we can see, I think I can see the egg yolk a little better in the blue. Let's see what you guys think. Let's try it this way. Can you see that? I think you can see that. There is some egg yolk you can see from here. All right, let's try to bounce it a little higher. I'm going to drop it. Let me just leave that here and just drop this, right? I'm going to make a mess, I think. Oh, shoot. I totally made a mess. Woo, wow, that's cool. Now that one's more blue. Look at that one. That even took more reaction into the rest of the white part of the egg has become more blue. I'm going to dump that out so we don't mix those together. I'm going to keep going since I have all these eggs. So the membrane is all that's left over. I'm going to switch to blue, and I'm going to, again, look at all the fuzzies on the outside, right? So it's still working. The chemistry is still working on this. And it's been in there for 72 hours, but you can do this after 48 hours and make these eggs bounce. So again, bouncing, we know that it has a very bouncy outer core, but the inside's still very tough, but the membrane is what is left. And the vinegar is the acid, and it just ate away at that outer shell. Okay, so the osmosis is that it absorbs the liquid, and the liquid inside the water through the semi-permeable membrane, and it goes into the egg. It will keep absorbing until there is an equilibrium from the egg to the outside. Okay, so like the outside is what's left over here. And this is probably not much vinegar left in this at this point. It's probably more water-based from coming out of the actual egg. All right, so let's take a look at this one and do the same thing with this one. So we can still bounce it. Ah, look at that one. Cool as well. So pretty. And again, the egg yolk is still there. All right, let's dump that one out. And moms and dads, this is not super expensive to do. Eggs aren't really expensive, so that helps. And then a vinegar is pretty cheap as well. So it's not a super expensive experiment. All right, let's try. I'm just going to dig in here and get this green one out. Again, look at all the fuzzies around it. So it's still got the chemistry that's working. It's a little messy. Let's give it a go. I just loved all the colors. Oh, I'm making a mess on myself. Okay. Woo! There we go. That one's green, but again, then see that absorbed a lot of the green food coloring from the vinegar. So that osmosis was continuing to work. Couple more here, guys. Stay with me. Again, this one looks humongous to me. This is the orange one. I didn't wash my hands, so now I'm getting green on it. But look how big it has expanded, again, when we compare it to the egg. Let's just try to cut this one open again so I don't make a huge mess. Can I just do a little? Oh, nope. There's the membrane. That's what's left of the shell. Pretty wild, right? And it's slimy. It's super gross feeling, but it feels almost like plastic. Again, something to get your hands on to try this because it's a pretty easy experiment. I'm making a mess, but that's okay. All right, one more. Let's do the final one, shall we? Yellow. How pretty is this? It's just so pretty. This one you can almost see. I'm going to wipe my hand down so I can pick up the flashlight. Because a flashlight's a fun way to kind of look at the yolk. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see it. It blends in pretty well with the yellow, doesn't it? All right, we'll do one more bouncy one. Let me dump the rest of this out. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it didn't bust. Oh, there it did. All right. Last one was our yellow one. There's the membrane, the osmosis, the chemistry of the vinegar, outer shell of the egg. Pretty awesome. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed some of those ideas just to play around and get your hands messy because it's fun and it's colorful. I love all these colors. It's just basic food coloring with the vinegar. And let's take one more look at our dancing rice. They're still moving. Sweet. Awesome. Again, that's the baking soda and the vinegar reacting with that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you soon on the next Weather Academy.